yeah, these are a way of balancing oneself. And this image, any given person with just taking a glance at this, the first most obvious image you see is the cross, of course. And people have such a strong association since Christianity is one of the biggest world religions. People immediately associate that with the cross of Jesus, the cross of Christ, which it can mean that, sure, at least in the sense of like a Christ consciousness, though this is not a Christian icon. This is the cross is a much older symbol, which simply meant balance in some cases, the balance of ourselves in sort of a very rudimentary way. It's like the shape of a person. It represents the four elements. It represents the four seasons. So the cross was a symbol in cultures far, far earlier than Christianity. And it can mean both things, but here it's saying something different. Here it's talking about balance, and that these practices are for that purpose, to when one stays with them long enough that they start to set to right the things that have built up in us for years and years, that sort of energetic debris, and this sort of whether trauma or experiences or memories that bring us back to negative thinking or to negative connotation. It's just this very balancing practice. I'm trying to think of other words than balancing, but that's what it is. And so that's what this image is. It's just to maybe speak to something. And by the way, anyone seeing this image just on a wall in a without any context, the hope and desire is that it inspires or speaks to a deeper part of them that goes beyond words, that perhaps the deepest parts of the subconscious or the psyche or the body itself recognize, even if it doesn't know, even if the thinking mind doesn't know what it means. So yes, the idea here is just that we pull down that energy from the highest ideal, from whether it is some sort of deity or divine thought or source of creation or the universe or the Big Bang, whatever name you want to give it, whatever purest thing that you can imagine is, and realizing and remembering that you are actually connected to it at all times, whether you're thinking about it or not, and whether you are awake to it or not, that it is already connected to you. And the idea even that the stars themselves hold energy, and that we are of the same essence as them, that we are of the same essence as the planets. And that is why, in that same sort of quantum sense, that the planets and the stars and the sun and everything else in our universe is essentially one, or at least made up of the same things. And so being more cognizant, more aware of these energies and allowing them in, and even meditating and breathing in such a way as to foster more of an awareness to this energy, has an incredible and profound effect. So when I painted this, I was not even yet aware of another image that is known as the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. And this is something that is used in Jewish mysticism, is used in certain magical circles. And you may notice here, this is not the biggest or best image of it, but these are, and I'm not going to explain in this video what this is. There's plenty of resources online for explaining what this is, and it is not easily explained. But simply put, this is a map of a human soul. This is a map of all of existence, and this is a map of how everything in the universe connects to each other, connects to itself, so to speak. And you'll notice that the top sphere is white, and the bottom, so the top sphere is Keter, or crown. These are the original Hebrew names, Keter, crown, highest ideal, that sort of that top, that white perfection and purity. and down here, this red sphere, and each of these corresponds to a planet in our solar system as well. But this red, Gebura, which represents strength, and Mars, Hesed, which is mercy, and Jupiter, and then Malkut, which is earth. And kingdom is the word it means, like the kingdom of man, the kingdom of where everything material exists. And then that center golden sphere, it's yellow in this picture, but golden is Tifereth, which is beauty. And curiously enough, so it wasn't until months later that I got further into my own study and practice that I even knew what this was, or began to study and understand, and what the colors were and the correspondences. And sure enough, you'll notice the blue sphere and the red sphere and the white at the top, and then the earth at the bottom, kingdom or Malkut, so to speak, all are in the same positions. And the gold in the center, which would be the person there, also is, forms the crux of the whole thing. And something else this corresponds to is something called the rose cross, which is sort of a very significant symbol as well. So just a bizarre synchronicity that I could not have possibly planned for. And it, I'm being very tame right now, but when I first discovered that, it blew my mind, because I was like, holy shit, this all came to me with these specific positions and these specific colors, and they correspond to this very old symbol. And I don't fully understand what that means even still, other than that I think it was a little wink, from the universe, and just, if nothing else, a nice little moment to be reminded that something is aware of us, aware of me, and looking out for us. So I just wanted to talk about that for a bit. And this piece will be up for sale, most likely on my Etsy shop, and there will be more art pieces to come for certain, probably of an esoteric nature. And so I will keep meditating and keep having visions and keep painting those visions as best as I can. So, okay, and that's the real end of the video. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this. I hope in some way it was interesting to you or helpful to you. And I'll leave it at that. Be well.